If I got like some Hogwarts ass letter in the mail that
Right.
just shot through like underneath my door and
It
said
would
you
be
are
like,
invited, I'd be there. This is Shayna,
and Kris.
and we are Bad Queers. If you came out of the closet and got put in a box of stereotypes you don't belong to, then welcome to the Bad Queers Club.
All right, this week in Queer Urban Dictionary, I have AFAB, or assigned female at birth. AFAB is an overarching term used to refer to sex assignment as female made by a doctor or a medical professional at the birth of an infant, usually based on external genitalia. Uh, AFAB is a useful term for educating about issues that may happen to these bodies without connecting it to womanhood or femaleness. This is generally not considered an identity, as calling a transgender man AFAB, for example, erases his identity as a man. Instead, use a person's pronouns and self-description. That last part was from P Flag. AFAB.
All right. My Queer Urban Dictionary word of the week is by erasure. Bi erasure refers to the tendency to ignore, deny, or minimize the existence of bisexuality or bisexual individuals. Bi erasure can have significant negative effects on bisexual individuals, including feelings of invisibility, invalidation of their identity, and a lack of representation and support. My sentences, one example could be assuming a person is either gay or straight instead of assuming that they could be bisexual. Bi erasure. All right, we have a lot going on in the
Hmm.
world in the weekend. This all really, everything is just going to keep happening fast for a bit. So we're just going to go ahead and
Hmm.
jump into our category is we'll sandwich this. We'll sandwich this. We'll sandwich this with some positive, some not so positive, and then finish it with some more positive. And that's how we will sandwich this section for you all today. So our first category is we're talking Grammys, we're talking Cowboy Carter tour. And what a time the Grammys were. Did you get to watch the
Hmm.
Grammys?
I didn't. I was traveling this weekend, so I caught all the clips of it. But it seemed like it was good.
It
People,
actually was. It was a
said it was
throwback
actually pretty good.
to when
Like
the
a
Grammys
good
actually
show.
were something to watch on a consistent basis and how excited
Yeah.
we used to get. It gave us throwback Grammys, and I really, really
Hmm.
enjoyed it. From the performances,
Okay.
even the jokes that Trevor Noah did were like Trevor actually does do a good job with the programming, and he's been the host for the last few years, and he does do a really great job. But this year actually felt the least cheesy that it's been
Hmm.
for a
Okay.
while. To have Kendrick and Beyonce wrap out the show, for Kendrick to win multiple awards for a diss track.
Five. That is the most awarded rap song ever. Not just a diss track. So, and then just to have the fallout from it with everybody jamming to it. This isn't like the
Singing
pop out where it's like
a
it's still LA
part of
crowd,
it.
but this is a industry loves the song. You had
Okay.
Taylor Swift, you had Beyonce
The
dancing, you
whole
had the
room
A
yelling
minor in the
A
rafters, like
minor.
Dr. Dre high-fiving Lucian Grain, who owns UMG.
Mm,
So it was a big fuck you to Drake for sure. It's well deserved by Kendrick. I know people, the conspiracy theorist folks are like, see, but it was the biggest track of last year. It was the most
it was.
defining track. I didn't think that it was gonna win. I didn't think it was gonna sweep,
Same.
but yeah, I didn't think it was gonna win Record of the Year. That was quite a category. But I mean, the categories are really tough this year overall. Like everybody deserved it, especially that new artist category. Like it could
Mm-hmm.
have really gone to anybody, and it made
Yeah.
sense for Not Like Us. Like it really was. Like Drake dared this man to make a bop, and
Mm.
he sure did. He
Instantly.
absolutely did.
Instantly.
Do not pick a fight with a Pulitzer Prize winning writer, poet, rapper. Like
Mm.
Kendrick is like, you want me to make a hit? I can make a club
He
hit.
said, say
I can make a
less.
club hit.
Say
That's a diss.
less.
Like that is, I got that. If I wanted to, I could. So, shout out to Kendrick and you know that Canadian tuxedo he wore and just we're going into Super Bowl weekend, so
What
Drake
a
to
week
turn his
for
phone off.
Kendrick. What a week for
Drake,
Kendrick to
Drake
go
has to
and
turn his
sweep
phone off.
and go to halftime in New
Yeah,
Orleans. Sir,
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Sir,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
phenomenal.
And
Phenomenal.
again, more indicative that Drake pissed a lot of people off,
Hmm.
clearly. Like a lot of people don't like this nigga. Clearly. Cause like all aligned. Taylor dancing her ass
She
off.
was
Like,
twerking.
listen,
For what a white girl
everybody
could do for
loves that
twerking,
song.
she did that.
Beyonce, listen, everybody gave it
Blue
up.
Ivy was
Blue
rapping to the song.
Ivy, like everybody gave it up.
She is
That everybody's like,
13.
that's my motherfucking song. So, you know, say what you want, but not only is it a good song, but he clearly had to do some awful things to people, or people don't like how he moves because,
Hmm.
they play in the lyrics, for it. It's not even just the chorus. Like, not
Whoever
like, no,
was
they're
the
doing the
sound engineer,
lyrics.
whoever was the sound engineer knew what to
Ooh,
do and when to do it and said, don't worry, don't worry. I got this.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
got a Grammy. I saw somebody write, he got a Grammy for every WAP. And he did five. There were five. So, yeah, I'm excited to see him and SZA later this year. But good, congrats to Kendrick. I mean,
Hmm.
Jesus. So, yeah, congrats to him. So obviously, Beyonce finally did it.
Ah,
She got what she
the
deserved.
joy, friend. The
Got
joy.
best country album too.
Hmm.
So, that validation.
To the
How did
shock
you
of her,
feel? Yeah. Do you think she was really shocked? Some people were like that she was fake shocked, but I think she
she doesn't.
was. I think
She
she was legit, like
she doesn't do
legitimately
that.
shocked.
She
No.
doesn't play like that. And like I think she was really like, if you look at between the CMAs and the backlash from the country community, um the way that
White
they
country
have
community.
played in her face about this track, I could completely understand that she felt like she was coming into this and not receiving best country album.
Yeah.
And we can't even say the part of her sitting up front or front row center for her to have been clued in to that, because she's
No.
Beyonce. They place
Yeah.
her front row center anywhere she goes. So it's
Yeah.
not one of those anymore where they used to put you there or strategically position you so that you could easily get to the stage to
Mm-hmm.
claim your award. It's not that anymore. She is that. Even Jay-Z was surprised. The only person
Yeah.
who wasn't
He was
surprised
shocked as well.
was Blue
Yeah.
Ivy Carter.
Get up. Yes.
Mom,
Yes,
stop
go.
making that fake.
So
Get your,
funny.
if you don't get you on stage,
So
come on.
funny. Like,
She's over
yes,
here
of
like, duh,
course.
mom.
Such a
Like,
little Capricorn already.
what you
Yeah,
mean?
yes.
That was the best
Yes,
country
that's your
album. Like,
game.
go on
Yes.
stage.
Go. Yes, you're nominated. You knew this could you knew it was a possibility you could win. So,
Okay.
but yeah, bless her heart. And I was happy for her for country album, obviously for album of the year
Long
to
time
finally get
coming.
it. Long time
Mm-mm.
coming. She said it too. Long time.
Mm-mm.
So well deserved for Beyonce. You
Also,
know,
and she had
mm,
her third one for her performance, her duo performance with Miley Cyrus on Two Most Wanted
oh,
as
okay.
well. So she had
That's a
she
good
had
one.
3 Grammys
Hmm.
total, because Miley Cyrus came out on stage and even looked at Beyonce and said, "Hey, girl, we won."
Hmm.
Look at that. And I feel like Miley can just go home with that. She stops and be like, I won a Grammy with Beyonce. There's nothing
Said
else
it,
that
done
I
it
need to
all.
accomplish here. I'm just here for a good time. Thank you so much. So yeah, so Beyonce got her 3. It was beautiful to see, but especially album of the year when there's a bunch of social media posts out that are showing the crowd's reaction, who are all just looking at her, all because Beyonce is the celebrity. So
Yeah.
everybody was just looking, fingers crossed, excited, and everybody leapt out of their seats. It was just fantastic to
Yeah. I
be
saw
able to
Cynthia
see
Erivo
that
right behind
support.
her.
And
And
and the
Taylor.
funny thing was, some of the internet people who were like, "Oh, Billie Eilish," and I'm like, first of all, Billie, Billie and Taylor really, they sat down finally for this award show, which was good. Like, Billie had an amazing performance, but Billie was just there
Hmm.
having a great time. Everybody was, because Billie was
That's
crying
like
when Beyonce went up on
a Tony
stage,
Hawk's pro skater
and right,
character.
right, uncle
Yeah.
character,
Very 90s. Very
all
90s.
of it.
Very Gene Co.
So,
Mhm.
when there's a lot of people on the internet were saying that when Billie was crying, they were like, "Oh, look, she even was sad that she lost," and I was like, if y'all don't read the fucking room, stop it. I hate the internet. I hate
Like
it here.
crazy.
Y'all just be
Yeah.
trying to make something out of nothing. No, Billie loves
Yeah.
Beyonce.
Yeah. They did that with some of the country people and they've hit back with that. I think like Casey Musgraves was like, I was not reacting that way. And someone else that was in
I
the
was like, Casey was
country
just chilling.
category was like, I'm sorry, I'm not, crying or clapping, but that doesn't mean I was hating. Like all of these people who are nominated, and we say this every year, deserve the award. Like they all, um, put a lot into their craft and had great songs and great albums and records and everything. So everybody deserves a win, but
Hmm.
like, everybody doesn't have to react the way you think they should. And,
Hmm.
a lot of people are happy for Beyonce and especially to be there went live when it happens. Like I was at the award show that Beyonce finally got her album of the year. Is kind of a cool thing to
That's a huge
witness
flex.
history. That's like, what? So yeah, I thought it was interesting that Taylor Swift was nominating the country category. So obviously I already knew the result, but I was like, if I was watching the show, I'd have been like, they might, because just the Taylor
That was my
Swift
first
presenting it
thought.
was like,
My first thought. I was
they
like, they
might,
put
they might
Taylor
make
up
this
here
moment,
to do this.
yeah.
Plus, they had kicked Kanye out ahead of
Yeah,
time. So
Jesus.
all of this was just a beautiful serendipitous thing. But yeah,
Yeah,
that was totally whoever had planned for Taylor to come out and read that knew what they were doing.
yeah.
And it was great.
Speaking
It
of
was a great
Kanye,
moment.
just disgusting, and he'll always be Kanye. I'm not gonna change whatever he changes his name to. I don't care. But that wife of his is absolutely gonna have like a R. Kelly, P. Diddy type doc in the next 10 years. Like it's some weird
I don't
shit
even give it
that's
10.
going on
It's
over
got to be
there.
shorter than that.
It's probably gonna be shorter than that, but it's gonna be some weirdo shit that comes out of this
Hmm.
thing, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, like don't." I'm just like, don't be surprised. It's all right there in front of us. Like it is the weirdest thing. But he was also nominated, but he was. I heard he wasn't kicked out, but he just left. He wanted to do the carpet. They do their
And just
stunt.
peace out.
Yeah, and then even the night before, he was tweeting all that nonsense at Kamala and reiterating his Trump stuff. So he's has probably an album coming. Kanye now just
Hmm.
does things
Well, then
for
he
sure
dropped
for
his
attention.
new clothing line or his
Mm,
updated clothing, the next set of Yeezy things, and we were just like, what?
mm,
Okay,
hmm. I didn't
cool.
even know that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
it was a commercial. It was a commercial.
I could care. So that's why he's doing it. He always does this when he has something to sell, for
Hmm.
sure now. So, um, the baby face moment, very unfortunate. That reporter, and this was
Both of them.
pre-show,
Both of
just
them.
mainly the blonde because she was doing all that weird shit where she was like, "Oh, all doofy, chapel." Like, and the other girl is like, she could have. They both were unprofessional in the moment, but that one
Hmm.
girl that was doing all that doofy shit was like, and like even when they apologized at the end, it was like that girl was looking at her like that was her.
She was
She
like, please
took the
don't
mic
put me
from,
under this.
"I'm sorry, baby face." Like,
Please don't do this.
terrible, terrible. So there have been all the people who said what they could have done and how it could have been obviously more professional and just like Babyface is a legend.
Hmm.
So they could have handled that gracefully, but that was just I was like, what was that girl thinking? Like she again made it bigger than what it was. Like this happens on the carpet. You shouldn't do that to legends. You shouldn't do that to anybody. But
Right.
she made it so awkward. She did that like weird little
Like
thing
it was
dip
the
that
whole
she
leaning
did. It
around,
was
like I'm
so
looking
yeah. And
for
it was like,
him, and then
"Jump!"
like, jump. Hey, oh,
In
babyface,
front of him.
babyface, we're
Like
so sorry. We gotta wrap this up. And the other girl's just
crazy.
like, I am so
I
sorry,
am so sorry,
babyface.
babyface.
Like he's like, y'all got that.
Yeah, and then it
Hmm.
was her, those two, and then the black guy. That was just they were just like those two that weren't so well, as involved as the blonde girl were just like looking like I'm so sorry. Like I'm not, don't associate us with her because that was pretty nuts.
I need to know what the producer was saying, like in their ear after that
Yeah.
happened. I need to know what happened from a
They're like,
production standpoint to
oh,
be
you
like,
really fucked up now.
be like, what the fuck did she just, who,
Yeah. And I'm
get
sure
her in
they were
here?
telling her like Chapel was there, but again, like
Yeah.
some of the good tips I've seen is like you could have made a moment where it's like, "Oh, Babyface, have you met Chapel Roan?" Like trying to invite him in and have a interview or gracefully end it, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So I don't know. I'm sure in her ear they were saying, and of course they would want the AP would want a Chapel Roan interview, but like, woof, like that was horrible the way that was handled. Very doofy. Don't think she would get hired again by the
Doofy
AP. I
is the word.
don't think because it was like so weird. Like she made it so weird. Like Babyface was like trailing off, looking at her, like trying to like, answer the question, but
Mm-hmm.
she was doing that, and he just is kind of like, and then shout out like in the middle of it. So he's like, yeah, go do that. Like Babyface is like, I've seen a lot. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
He's like,
care. I'll move
I
on.
ain't got time.
I don't have
I
time
ain't
for
got
that.
time.
So shout out
Mm-mm.
to Babyface, such a class act.
You know,
Um, Such a
the,
class act.
the internet did
Jesus.
what he didn't do, so it was fine. We
Yeah,
made up for it
exactly. He knew
in the
it.
way that we needed to. So
Did
Babyface
you have
always.
a favorite performance?
Honestly, the mix of the new artist performance
Keep hearing about that. Of course,
was
Doshi. But
amazing. It was flawlessly transitioned. The way that folks like Doechii used the crowd, the
hmm
way that like Chapel's performance was even like it was just weirdly great.
hmm
It gave like pop a poppier Gaga type
Definitely.
performance.
Okay.
And it was so smooth. Shabuzi came out and was just
hmm
glorious to start it. And it was a perfect, seamless move, but everybody gave great performances. Like it
That's
was
awesome.
so high quality in the way that they did it. And that was probably my favorite moment of the whole show. It was a good time. But also, Janelle Monáe performing Michael
Mm,
Jackson for the Quincy Jones tribute.
no.
Phenomenal.
No.
Phenomenal.
I love Michael too much and I love Janelle, but it was a no for me, dog. I was like,
It was the energy. It was
Cynthia for the
Cynthia.
Quincy. Yeah, but
Cynthia of for me was the best vocal of the night
oh
because
yeah.
obviously that's what she was
But of
doing. Like it was
course,
a
look, but
vocal
of
performance,
course,
but
yeah,
the vocals,
yeah, and song
good lord,
selection for that, like,
beautiful.
yeah,
She is the queen of tributes. They bring her out for tributes for everyone,
hmm
and
and
she owns
should
it all the time. I don't think we
honestly
get to talk
should,
about that enough.
yeah.
That Cynthia Erivo is brought out for so many people's
It's
tributes,
just a
alive
great
and dead,
tribute.
and
Yeah.
she eats every single time.
She's had like two Kennedy honor performances, like because of course she's like done two separate years, and
Hmm.
both of them are just every now and then I'll go back to it on YouTube. It's so good. Yeah, they're gonna get her for all the things now. She's gonna be like the new like Stevie, where they
Right.
have him do everything. This one he should have done him with Herbie Hancock was good. I didn't like aside from Cynthia's performance, I was disappointed in Quincy's tribute.
Hmm.
I feel like they should have I didn't like the song for Janelle or the pick of Janelle for that. And it's not any, the talent is not there. It's not that thing. It's just, yeah, I don't know if I would have picked them to do that song for Quincy when Quincy has so many other songs. And there's other songs that they're better fit for.
Hmm.
But it certainly was a moment.
It was a
And
moment.
they were fly doing it. But yeah, that was interesting. Then what other? Yeah, the only performance is Doshi's that stood
Doechii
out. Yeah, that's
did
what a star, what a
exactly what
star,
needed to be done.
what
Exactly
a
what needed to
star.
be done. I was like, and it was so fun to also see Doechii throughout the night because the amount of iterations that their outfit had, it was the same outfit, but
hmm
would add and subtract different things
Yeah,
until she ended up on stage in her underwear,
yeah.
which I was
It's
also
like
like, it was one of those
Tom.
moments where it's like, we don't see that from her very often. And it kind of gave circa Janelle, where
hmm
Janelle would show up in like the suits and do all of that. And Doechii showed up and did that and then took off and went in the underwear. And I was just like, this is giving like a
Yeah,
new age
could do it
rap
all. I
Janelle.
could
And
do it
I
all.
loved it. Loved the
I was like
balance of it.
TDE supremacy. My God, Kendrick. I mean Kendrick, SZA, Doshi. You still have Schoolboy Q, J Rock. You have they just know what they're doing over there
Hmm.
at that label,
Sure
but
do.
they are just set up,
I can only
So,
imagine what the creative process looks like in that building. I don't
mhm,
know what that building has been
mhm.
blessed with, what the recording studios have been blessed
Yeah.
with. Just think if they're in their recording and any one of the people you just listed just walks in, they're hanging out and they're like, here, add this, add this. All right, I'm gonna head out to do the things. You want to get a coffee later?
hmm
I can just
But
imagine the energy flowing in that building.
you know what it is? It is that they've given their artists time to grow. It doesn't seem like they push them to do anything. Like if
Hmm.
anything, SZA is always complaining that she would want to drop more, but they're just like, nah, wait, like they are and even with Doshi being recognized now, like obviously she's been out for a while. Even just
Hmm.
like Persuasive a couple years ago was a big hit, but alligator bites never heal. Everything off that is she's in like superstar status. So I think that they are very patient with them. They don't make Kendrick drop like
Hmm.
how Drake does or anybody else does. Yeah, they seem like they get together and have like a sound bath
No,
retreat
truly, truly.
and check in with their wellness of things and like keep growing in your artistry. Just like let us know when you want to drop. It's and Doshi actually alluded to like the pressures of having a TikTok hit. So I'm sure that still
Hmm.
comes from the label because it's not TDE, it's still owned by a larger label. Um, but I feel like they protect him, it seems like, because
Yeah.
they art, artistry. Like that was,
Hmm.
you know. So shout out to Doshi for being the third woman to win Best Rap Album, which is
Yes.
crazy. So that was cool to have Cardi present that. Um, and yeah, what a year. What
What a
a
year.
year. Jesus.
The
Yeah.
music that we did it. And then to wrap up the night, this is the redeeming moment
Now
for Janelle
this
Monae
was
for
my
you.
moment. Drop
This
that remix.
ah
With the horns. Hot in
okay.
here with the horns. The diss. Hot in here, Nelly diss with the horns jump.
Full
Drop that,
live
Janelle.
band. Full live
Drop it,
band.
please. And it
Okay.
sounded so good with the
So
horns.
good.
Her and Anderson Paak
So good.
dissing
Okay.
Nelly on his biggest track, Hot in Here, calling him a sellout. Like now
Mm.
that that
Repeatedly.
was a performance. The
Repeatedly.
second favorite performance of the night. So that was good. And that's why I was like, don't put Janelle in no position where I was like, I don't know. It could have even been another Michael song. But
Mm.
now this,
This.
my God, release it. Release the remix,
I need
please.
it.
Like, it's so good. It's so good. Y'all
Need
gotta go
it.
look at that video of an after party and Janelle Monáe doing a remix to Hot in Here and dissing Nelly again for performing at the Trump inaugural ball. So, and it was
Hmm.
really good. It was Janelle and Anderson Paak. So, and that force, that creative force, like that, please, like,
So good.
so
So
good. They need to do a joint album. That would be
ugh,
good.
oh my gosh. Our
That would be
ears
crazy.
would be
That
so
would be
satisfied.
crazy.
It would scratch an itch in the brain that we didn't even know that we had, but now it's soothed.
Yeah, that would be a great album. Woo, so good.
That tour?
Um,
My God.
that tour, that would, ooh, there's so many ways they could go with it.
Mm.
Anything else with Grammy? I mean, it seemed like
No.
everybody felt pretty positively about it, and
Yeah. It was very
you
fun. They
know,
actually did. I was like, Cynthia and Lena actually sat together.
I
We got
saw
to see
that.
that. So we were very excited about that. That's the only other thing that was like
You
nice little
think they're
cherry on
gonna
top. So
walk the Oscar red carpet together, or do you think that they're gonna walk a red carpet together?
you never know.
You never
You
know.
never know with those two because it's been years.
Yeah.
And to
You know
find
who
out how many
texted?
people who didn't know that they
I
were
had no
together
idea.
until this year.
Yeah. They're in a 5-year relationship. People are like, "Woo?"
They're like,
But
what?
you know who texted me about that? Kevin, shout out to Here's Why with Kevin. He texted me about that because he was like, I didn't know why they hadn't walked the carpet together. And I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, 2020 was I was like, it wasn't a good launch for them. So I'm sure they're still, keeping it private. But I was like, there's a backstory there.
Yeah.
So, but I do think I mean, they're never gonna let Alicia Keys go, so it just is what it is. Just be happy and be out there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all you could do. I mean, people are gonna always say the things that they would say about it,
Mm-hmm.
but Alicia Keys is out there still fighting for freedom and whatever. So Alicia Keys, she got the Dr. Dre award, right? Like the
Yes.
innovator.
Yes.
So
Yes, she did.
out there. Did you see that video of her on the jet for her birthday? With like
Mm-hmm.
all these full of girls. I was like,
Yep.
and then it was like stud Alicia Keys, and I was
It
just like,
was.
she always does this
I
to us,
stopped
where
and I
she
was like,
just teases just a little,
just a
just a
little.
little,
And we're like, we
just a
know.
little.
Queen Latifah introduced this award to you. Don't play
Right.
with us. Okay? All of the
Queen Latifah looked
symbolism is
great too.
here. Don't
Hey,
play with us.
yeah, I maybe it's backward opinion. I was like, I don't mind calling her a bi icon, but whenever Alicia is ready, but she always does
Whenever
this
she's
little
ready.
teasing. She
Whenever
always
she's
does this
ready.
little
I know that
teasing.
she's in the Sandra Bullock
Keep her
era where
here.
they throw like underground queer parties. She has to be a part of that. We know it's
Sandra
there.
Bullock hair. That's
Yes,
funny.
no, because
What?
that's a rumor that's been happening. Have you not heard this rumor?
No.
Sandra Bullock
What?
allegedly,
No.
allegedly,
My Sandy. I mean, it would be great to hear,
yes,
but
our Sandy,
no, no,
our
no. Sandy Bullock
allegedly,
is on.
allegedly, Sandra Bullock be
Uh,
throwing some underground queer parties.
I mean, I hope.
Invite only
And
thing.
honestly, always thought it a little bit. There was always a little.
Okay, I was like, she's dabbled.
She's dabbled.
She's
I'm
had to have
sure.
dabbled.
I'm
Okay,
sure.
especially after
Allegedly.
Ocean's 8, I was like, mm-mm,
Yes.
mm-mm.
Absolutely that.
Has to. Has to. Miss
Mm-hmm.
Congeniality?
Mm-hmm.
Miss
Mm-hmm.
Congeniality too,
Two.
really.
Two. That was like her and
Because
Regina
that was when I
King.
was like, is
Because
Regina
that was,
the
yeah. I was like, yeah. It just has always seemed to be there. So I
so
wouldn't be
she throws these events
surprised. And
and I
that
don't
is
want to be
funny. I
there.
have to now look into that, or you send TikTok videos of
I got
whatever
you.
this is. My
I got
God.
you. I got the research.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Can you imagine
Oh
you up at
man.
a Sandy Bullock queer party?
Okay. If I got like some Hogwarts ass letter in the mail that
Right.
just shot through like underneath my door and
It
said
would
you
be
are
like
invited, I'd be there.
it would be something attached to like speed where you get it and like once you reach whatever miles per hour it like stops or whatever. But
Yep.
I hope that's true. That's wonderful. We are always accepting of folks, especially later in life folks. So that's a cool rumor. So
Yes.
well, before the Grammys, Saturday night happened, which was
Mm.
already full of craziness. Kanye was tweeting.
Yep.
Luca was going to the Lakers, which seemed like very fake.
A wild time.
And then something else happened. It was all happening at the same time. I was like, what is going on?
We said, welcome to Black History Month,
I was like,
is what
are they
happened.
trying to like dump this at the same time? Like, is the world ending? Like, why are these three things happening at the very same time? It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. Yeah.
But this was the most positive out of all of it, which
Yeah.
was Beyonce, of course, not giving us any heads up, not telling us that she was going to do this, just dropped her flyer to say that officially she coming.
That's
Cowboy Carter
okay.
Rodeo Chitlin Circuit Tour is
Nighttime.
live and here. And
Just think
honestly, it was the right time.
y'all are cozy in your homes on Saturday night. Get up!
Every
Like
time. Every time.
every time, like
There's no
spilling
there's no
wine,
rest.
like that's crazy. Like I was like, what is what? Okay, so wait, this and that, like what's going on?
Yeah,
It's just so we
she doesn't
heard
care.
we have more details now than we did on Saturday. Like the
Yes, we did.
cities have been announced. It
Yes, we have.
is, you want to tell us more about that? Did you get an official newsletter as a Beehive member? Would you say gold, silver? What are you?
Gold
Gold,
member.
gold, gold member.
Austin Powers, gold
Yeah.
member. Yes.
Oh yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you. Very proud of
Austin
that.
Powers,
Yes.
gold member. Mm-hmm.
So yes, so Beyonce did a casual post on the internet, updated her website, did all of the things, and then came into the Grammys like nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because how dare you?
Oh yeah.
So
I'll be on tour. She's always
this is
so
always what
sweet
happens.
in her
So it's like
messages. So
that's why I
sweet.
had
I'm
a
sorry.
feeling that she was
So
going to say
sweet.
something because she was actually showing up to the Grammys. And usually when she decides to show up to stuff, something's happening. So I
Mm,
was like, we have to be getting it. Either we're getting it right before or right after.
after.
And it happened right before. So she allowed us to at least like rest for a day
Mm-hmm.
before getting to the Grammys. So thank you for that. As you know, she was supposed to have her initial announcement on January 14th, but due to the fires happening in LA, she decided to announce later.
Mm-hmm.
We had a feeling it was a tour, but nobody had confirmed it. But of course, right at the
Mm-mm.
beginning of Black History Month, this bitch says, you have 2 months
Yeah.
to get your coin together. You're welcome. Okay, 2 months. So the schedule, because a lot of folks were wondering, why is it such a short tour? Why are there so little dates? The history behind it is that the schedule is following the original Chitlin Circuit, which was a network of performance venues for African American performers during the Jim Crow segregation era in the United States, which was a vital part to the success of Black musicians, comedians, and other entertainers in the 1930s. Um, on the schedule, all of these places have been listed: Chicago, Atlanta, DC, LA. Vegas has been announced, but
No
it is
dates.
not on the list of shows that we can sign up for pre-sale tickets to just yet. Even the Vegas Twitter page was like, just be patient. Just be patient. So all the rumors are that Beyonce is preparing to perform at the Sphere, the giant
That makes sense.
dome in Vegas. It has not been confirmed. She has toured it. We don't know what's going to happen. Other folks are like, is she going to do a residency so that she doesn't do another tour? Don't know. We're going to see what happened. The thing that I appreciated out of all of this was that she also made it so that folks who have been on her mailing list get first access to the presale.
Oh,
I
well, that's
appreciate
good.
it.
Yeah.
I
And
am on
should.
that mail list. I double checked. I went back and signed up and they were like, girl, you already been here. I was like, just making sure. I want to make sure that y'all didn't lose my
Girl, we
number.
got you,
Okay.
girl.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wanted to
that's
be
so
sure y'all
funny.
didn't lose my number, but it's
She's
great. I
like,
still think
newsletter subscribers and folks
Yes,
who've had chitlins before in their past
those two.
get get
Those two.
access to tickets first.
I still want to get to the
Imagine.
point where like the Spotify and Apple Wrapped
Mm-hmm.
becomes a factor as well. Like I need
Hmm.
layers of this. Like who was the artist that just did it where like they had to like answer some questions before they got in and did that? Was that J.
Mm.
Cole or somebody?
Really,
Somebody just
probably.
did that. And
J.
I
Cole
thought
just
that
did
was
a
brilliant.
whole podcast thing that you paid for, and then the people who subscribed to his podcast only paid like some crazy low amount to go see for tickets to his New York show. It was really clever how he packaged it up, but it was
Hmm.
like if you subscribe to his podcast series where he was just like talking about his career, or it was I think it was the 10th anniversary of Forest Hills Drive. But anyways, he did a show in New York, and like the people who were subscribed to the podcast paid like it was a dumb amount. Like it was like under $100, I think, for
Oh, that's
tickets, which
amazing.
is really cool.
I love that.
So I like how they're doing these things, getting
Hmm.
chitlins and newsletters,
Chitlins and
or
newsletters.
the
So yeah.
chitlins and newsletters is probably the title here. But yeah. So what shows are you thinking about? I would imagine Chicago,
Yes,
obviously.
yes. Chicago is obviously on the list because
Mm-hmm.
she can't be down the street from me and I not go.
Right.
That'd
Not
just be
in your
rude.
city. You're like,
Okay,
not in my city.
girl.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, but I also really want to go see her in Atlanta.
Yeah, it would be nice to see her in the South for a chitlin.
Yes, and
Certain show.
The Atlanta Hive is
Mm-hmm.
different. They're
Mm-hmm.
different. I would have been tempted for LA, but that's the start of the tour, and I want to see her more towards the end of the tour. And Atlanta has
Okay.
the last two shows currently because
Oh,
you know
okay.
she be liking doing out stuff and she likes to do other things. So, but
Mm-hmm.
right now Atlanta is the last one. DC actually gets a Fourth of July show,
I saw that. That
and
was
I
really
said,
cool.
but then I was like, you
Taking it
know,
right there.
with Homeboy in office, I don't know if I
I
want to
know.
do all
But it's
that.
really a fuck you though to
It
like to
is a
be there
huge
on
fuck
July
you,
4th.
and
Yeah.
I'll go to Atlanta. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right.
Yeah. What is she going to New Orleans? I mean, I know she's going to Houston, but what are the other stops? I know like what was on the
It was like we got
let me look at this again.
New Jersey, LA.
Paris.
Well, yeah, some Paris ones. She's doing
Mm-hmm.
London, Beyonce tour. Gotta pull this up.
I guess not. London.
Yeah, okay. LA,
Yeah.
Chicago, New Jersey, London, Paris, Houston, DC, Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yes.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening. We're very excited.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. So
I'm
then
gonna be there.
Atlanta's like the only show in the well, not the only one in the South, but I don't know what Houston preferred. I guess they're the South too, right? They're not Midwest.
Yeah,
It's
Houston
South.
South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, yeah, the New Orleans
Yeah.
people
I
can
mean
go to
different types of
Houston or
South, but
Atlanta.
yes, South.
Now that's very true.
Because it's
That's
Texas
very
Southern
true.
and then there's Southern, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and then there's a Florida Southern and
Okay. Yeah, and
certainly a
Florida isn't
Georgia.
South,
Yeah.
even though its
Mm.
location is. So it's just, you know, here we are.
You said Florida is not South?
I like that. Yes, I said what I said.
Wow.
I wouldn't
Okay.
like I
That's a
wouldn't
can of
put
worms. I was
yeah,
like, I'm
I'd be
sorry.
like I said what I said. So I would put Florida
Yeah.
in like the not like the southern category. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm. I would
you're
say
putting
maybe South
Alabama,
Florida,
you're putting all
not
of
so
that. Like I
much.
wouldn't even put South Florida. I'm just like Florida in general is not like
Really?
how the South
Huh.
is. You know?
Yeah.
It's
But
two
I feel
very
like
different categories of things.
each southern state has its own kind of thing going
It
on
does.
because
But
a lot
Florida
of people
doesn't
say
fall
Virginia's not the
in
South, and like as
Northern
Virginians,
Virginia.
Northern Virginia is kind of
Not.
not. But Richmond down is really
Richmond,
Fredericksburg.
you got to go
But
past that. Okay?
yeah, yeah,
That
Richmond
45
down
minutes.
is. But then 757 could kind of be considered kind of the north of the South kind of thing because we are nothing like Georgia or South Carolina or North Carolina South. So you know what, I actually understand your Florida argument, but I would still maybe not so much South Florida because it's so international,
Hmm.
but maybe South Florida up maybe because
Yeah,
it's
it
like
just doesn't fall under the like
swampy
typical
and
stereotypes that it would fit in. Like Florida
mm,
is just like its own, it's just
yeah.
there. It's just hanging out there.
Florida,
Don't
you
know
know,
how
but
we got here, but there it is.
Real Florida is. I think it's only because Florida is so tourism heavy. Like you have so many people not from Florida living in Florida, but
Hmm.
then when you meet a real Floridian, you're like, oh yeah, like, it's like, oh okay, yeah, yes, Florida man, Florida woman, got it. Yeah, there is its own. Yeah, but there's so many places like Orlando is kind of now more international. South
Hmm.
Florida has always been a mix of flavors down there. So it's not, yeah, traditional South. So I could see what you're saying, but
Yeah.
and sometimes you drive out. It's like,
You come
oh,
across somebody with a gator. It's fine. It's
yeah,
fine.
very, very swampy. And shout out to Tampa, Doshi in Tampa and all that. So, and shout out to her mom, her mom as well. Um,
Yes.
call back to Doshi's mom. There was a mother's show with this. It was a Black
It really
Mothers
was. It really
show.
was.
So
We
shout out to
loved it.
Black Moms. So okay, so Atlanta for you maybe, and for sure Chicago.
Hmm.
What you're thinking? And
Yes. And then whatever she
what
announces with
if?
Vegas,
Yeah, I was like, what
I'll be
if with
there.
the Sphere? Would you do three shows, or would you do Chicago and Vegas?
No, I'd do 3 shows. I did three
You do
shows
three
last time.
shows? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well,
I would do it. The
hey,
Beyonce
I don't
account
know.
has, I have continued to do monthly
You're ready
deposits. It
for
is
it.
ready.
You're ready for
Okay.
it.
I am not
So
stressed. All the
listen,
people who are out
three
here counting the
shows.
coins, no,
Got
I
it.
have been
Got it.
saving since Beachella.
Oh,
The account is fine.
okay. Okay. Well,
So,
there we
yes,
have it.
there we
That
have it.
is the Cowboy Carter show coming kind of near you for some
Yes,
people,
some
and other
people.
people not so
Hmm.
much. You're gonna have to travel.
Yep.
So,
All right. We're gonna kind of run through this one just to make it quick, just to give updates to know that the world, the next category is that the world is on fire. And here's how it's impacting us. So if you don't want to hear how the world is on fire, just skip. I'm going to keep this under 5 minutes. And then we're going to go to the next category. All right. So, what is the government doing? If you haven't been paying attention, if you haven't wanted to pay attention, totally understandable. But here is like your quick quotes of what you should be paying attention to. So, first, the State Department changed all of the LGBTQ stuff on their website. They either shifted it to LGB and left that, or they removed it entirely. This was a part of Trump's plan. This is part of Project 2025 to erase the trans community and to erase the queer community. And so they have begun that. Another part of the things that they have done on their websites is that the CDC pages no longer have information on HIV or AIDS prevention or sexual health, which also includes maternal health. So that's wild. And also a great reminder to say that, hey, guess what? All of our healthcare is related and it impacts everybody. It doesn't just impact one small percentage of people. So just remember that. Federal employees were told to remove their pronouns from their email signatures. This was not a policy that was required by federal employees. Federal employees just did it on their own if they wanted to, but they were told that no, you can no longer do that.
like,
So,
let me sign that. It's
okay,
not even a
I'm not
rule.
responding to any emails that have pronouns. I could see somebody doing that. Be like, I
You
don't
know,
understand that.
you know, get out there.
And live today, when we're recording, Trump signed an executive order that will prevent people who are assigned male at birth from participating in women's or girls' sporting events, which, of course, today is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. So he signed up and made sure to do that because, again, the sexism for him to only do it for folks who were assigned male at birth and to think that they are the only threat to sports, and he continues to worry about this, is obnoxious. Finally, those carrying passports whose gender has potentially changed on their passport, um, be aware of that process. Go jump into apps like Signal, do some research, follow folks who are doing the work in the trans community, like Chase Strangio and things like that, who will help to give updates on what is happening. Currently, there's a lot of fuckery that's going on where if they see that historically you have changed your gender identity or your gender marker on passports, you may not get it back. Um, they may change it for you and make it unsafe for you. And it's becoming a big issue. And I'm waiting for all of the lawsuits to come, and I'm sure they're going to come. So pay attention to the ACLU, pay attention to folks that you trust in the trans community, pay attention to Trans Lash Media, pay attention to those spaces, and be aware before sending your passports in to get renewed or anything like that. So that is your quick update for what's happening. I'm sure that we will continue because if we continue to deep dive into it, that's going to be our podcast the whole time, every week.
Yeah. I
For
mean, they seem to rotate, uh, you know, let's do something against black people and brown people today. Let's do a little race.
mm-hmm,
Let's do a little romantic and gender minority. Let's get them today
yep,
as well. Women.
mm-hmm,
Um, oh, let's give Elon access to the treasury too. Why not?
Wild.
So, as well. And Elon and a
Is it
group
in
of
what
teenagers as
world?
well, like, or young men, like some
What
random
world?
to our entire payment system. Yeah, it's something every
Mm-mm-mm.
day. Let's do something to the current government workers. They
Mm-hmm.
sent that email out.
They
They
said no
wanted
holidays for you, no celebrations for you.
200, 200,000. They wanted 200,000 people to take their deal of like, hey, quit and we'll pay you until September. Today I saw that only 20,000 took them up on the offer, which is crazy because it says in the offer how it's not enforceable. So they actually don't
Right.
have to give you money. And
Right.
he did this at Twitter. Like he did this when he took over Twitter, and the ex-employees sued him because it was similar. And the courts were like, no, we can't enforce this. It's not enforceable. So
Mm-hmm.
ultimate chaos every day. Every day. Ultimate chaos. They just contracted out the prison to like, who is it?
To El
Is it
Salvador.
yeah, like what? So it's something
And then they stopped, and
every
like
day.
lawyers everywhere are like, that is illegal.
You can't do
You
that.
can't do that. Margot
Gulf
Rubio
of
was like,
Mexico still in our
look
hearts.
what
It's
I've
still
done.
here. Like every day, it's something. Like it is something outrageous. A lot of these things will not hold up. I am starting to see a little bit more action with the Democratic Committee or
Mm-hmm.
Party, really led by AOC and Jasmine Crockett are the only ones I see out there. Like last week, it was like Chuck Schumer was like reading a strongly worded letter, and I was like, if y'all don't get in there and see what's going on, but it seems like they're
Uh,
picking up whatever momentum. I was like, good God,
I was like, please just
these are
do
the
it.
people
I
who are
was like,
going to
Ayanna
save us.
Presley was just out doing a whole talk and was out there with a bunch of folks from the Senate and stuff. So I'm just keep going.
Keep
Let's
going.
do it bigger and
They're
faster.
so
You got it.
flat-footed though. Like he said he was going to do all this. Like I just,
Mm-mm.
oh God, Democratic Party. I tell you what, Jesus Christ. They were like, we wrote a letter.
Right.
Dear President Trump, stop.
I am
A white
a white
man
woman in America.
in America. Yeah, so, keep us in y'all's prayers if y'all are listening to us internationally. And yeah, it's something every day.
That part.
I don't fucking know. So,
I don't fucking know.
we'll just see how this turns out.
Yeah.
Um, what could go wrong?
Accept
Hmm,
everything. It's fine. All right, let's
every
go to our
literally
final
everything.
category is
Everything.
we got to see one of them days.
Yes, yes,
Man,
yes.
told you, finishing on a positive. Let's talk about one of them days.
It's
What were your thoughts, friend? How
fun.
did you like it?
So I liked it overall, but it had to warm up for
Hmm.
me. Like the
Hmm.
beginning, I was like, like, okay, this is predictable-ish
Hmm.
writing. Um, and Kiki Palmer carried it the whole thing for me. Just her
Whole
comedic
thing.
timing and chops, so funny. Her little side, like just little sideline, just these little lines that she would just say would be so funny. And then it got good. Like towards the middle of the movie and at the end, they landed the plane. They made it into more of that 90s buddy comedy thing. I know they said this is like Friday, series. And it was. They did land the plane. I wasn't sure probably the first 30 minutes maybe a little under it. I was like, "Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see." So, I would say out of 10, I would give it like a 7. I
Okay.
think there will be a sequel and it should be good.
Hmm.
I hope they do. And then it was heartwarming at the end and all that. So, I like it. 7 out
Yeah.
of 10.
I was like, I did. I agree with you on the slow roll at the beginning. I was just like, because you
Mhm.
just didn't know which way it was gonna go at
Yeah.
that point, and
Mhm.
the heavy emphasis on the boyfriend. I was like,
Very heavy.
oh,
I was like, this is a
I
lot.
don't know if we
This
want
is
to like lean into him a
a
lot. And
lot.
SZA's character was pissing me off, and I was just like, and
Right.
then we
Ugh.
started to be like, okay, okay, and like, yeah, there was a lot of things where you stopped and you're like, okay, well, yeah, he absolutely stole your money. He absolutely walked out there and took, yeah, you're gonna go to this thing. Um,
Yeah.
and it was just great. Cat Williams was an unexpected, like, I did
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the
Mm-hmm. The
moments of showing up.
cameos.
I
So
stopped and
funny.
I actually expected his character to do something completely different throughout the film,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, okay, like this works out. It was great. But
Yeah.
the whole thing that I enjoyed was just like I was entertained.
Mm-hmm. It was
I
very
did
entertaining
find
movie.
joy throughout it, and it didn't end with anything negative or crazy, whatever. I
Or
was just like,
sad. Yeah.
fantastic. This is, thank you. Thank you, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. I feel like we haven't had one of these films in a long time.
Feel good.
And
Mhm.
it was just so nice to go into a theater and just come out and be like, ah, I did enjoy
Yeah.
that. It
Huh.
was nice.
Especially with two black female leads, you don't see that a lot. They said this was the
Exactly.
first one since BAPS in 1997, where I'm like, it's criminal what they did to us in our childhood. Okay, because the front, the beginning half of my childhood was great, nothing but
Mm-hmm.
black shows and movies and all that, and then it was
Yep.
a drought after the 2000s because it was just,
Yeah.
bullshit. But
I was like, that
yeah,
was when
it
we hit
was.
middle
It
school.
definitely
Wild
was
times.
a feel good movie. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was good, and yeah. Excited for other people to see it. And again, I think there should be a sequel to this, but we'll see.
Yeah.
See if they grow. I like Vanessa Bell Calloway was in there. They had some cameos of folks in there.
They had some really good
Um,
cameos.
they balanced the social people or the influencers or people,
Mm-hmm.
online, and then the OGs and all that. And again, to your point, I thought they handled like Cat Williams' character. I didn't know what they were going to do with him, but I liked him being kind of the hood, kind of Buddha, like wisdom guy.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it was cool. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. Go see it or stream it. I guess it would be on streaming soon. So
Yeah.
see it or stream it. So, all right.
Well, all right. Let's go ahead to our advice segment. Am I a bad queer? I jumped in. I got
Yes.
excited. My bad.
Yeah, I
I
was
was like,
like,
yeah, my
it's
bad.
like it sounded
My
like you're
bad. I
about to.
was
I was
so
like, you
excited.
might
I was like,
read
wow, I don't
this.
really read
Like,
this.
yeah,
Wow, this is new
it was like
territory.
it sounded so official. I was like, I shouldn't step on this because you could read
I
this
was
if you
so
want.
excited.
You want
I
to
was
spice it
just
up.
so excited. My bad.
Yeah,
After
no,
you,
it's
friend.
fine. You got
After
it.
you.
And then you thought, and I was like, oh, yep.
There it is.
Um,
There it is.
yeah, it's our advice segment. Am I a bad queer? Got something on your mind? Don't keep it to yourself. Send your questions to badqueers.com. Hit us up on IG at badqueerspod or email us at badqueers@badqueers.com. All right. This first one is from Angelica. Angelica asks, am I a bad queer? I have a white queer friend who mainly surrounds themselves with other black and brown queer folks. They haven't done anything problematic while I am around, but the more friends I meet, the more I am realizing they really don't have any other white friends. Is this an awesome form of allyship, or is this something I should be skeptical of? Angelica. Uh, this could be answered in so many ways. I'm like,
Mm.
where are they from?
I'm
They might
really
be
excited
from
to
a
see
really black, city or area,
where
and
you
just
go
been
with
like,
this.
I just have black friends. I don't. I think you don't need to be. You actually. Let me say this: be skeptical,
Mm.
but just wait until something happens. Like you could be a little skeptical because,
Mm-hmm.
the world has shown us, time and time again. But I think, if it's going to be a problem, it's going to present itself soon enough. Like you'll see and be like, "Oh, but I don't know. I can't really tell from this. If they haven't done anything problematic, they might be a white person who just really does vibe with black people more or, and it not be like they're intentionally just seeking out black people." So,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of factors at play. Again, they might have grown up in a racially diverse area or have a lot of black friends and that be the thing. Um, and it could be as, worst case scenario where they are kind of performatively making black friends just to say I have black friends and be one of
Mm-hmm.
those. But that person will show themselves soon enough. So a healthy amount of skepticism is fine. I don't think you should hold it against them. Um, yeah, just see how it plays out. They'll let you know soon enough, for
Yeah.
sure. You'll see where they fall. Is it organic or is it, performative and, you know, insidious or whatever. So
Good word.
we'll see.
Good word.
Like,
Yeah.
what in the get out is going on?
I mean, I agree. I agree. Like a healthy form of skepticism when you see this. I know, like, I have a friend who's similar to this, but she went to a university and her program ended up being a lot of melanated folks. And so she made friends with a lot of them and then gets to hang out with them. So it could just be a happenstance, like Kris said. But doesn't matter how long you've known them.
Doesn't.
You gotta stay
It just
skeptical.
doesn't.
So you're not a bad queer for wanting to be skeptical. I suggest that you just, in today's climate, in today's economy, a healthy set of skepticism around any white folks, well-meaning or not.
Hmm.
is correct.
Because they could be a John Brown white. I mean, but they could
You
be
never know.
someone that is off also not at
Mm-hmm.
all. You'll know. You'll
You'll
know
know.
soon enough. So,
You will.
hmm there's some good ones out there. Shout out to the great whites. There's
The
some
great
great whites
whites.
listening.
Yes.
And just in this world, they've always been around. There's always been white people who know and have protested racism and all forms of discrimination against black and brown people. They think it's dumb. They know that race is a construct and it was made up. There have always been white people in this world and especially in this country that have stood for that.
Mm-hmm.
They've just lost against other whites a lot, and continue to in some ways. So I don't, healthy amount of skepticism is fine, but there's definitely a lot of great whites out there. And shout out to our great whites. We love y'all.
All right. Well, thank you, Angelica, for writing in.
Mhm.
All right. Our next Am I a Bad Queer assigned it as just a person, not a planet.
Hmm.
This person says, am I a bad queer for side eyeing my girlfriend's astrology obsession? Absolutely not. I like that I got this one. Thank you so much. I knew my partner was into astrology when we started dating, but I didn't realize it was going to be this deep. Every decision, where we eat, how we communicate, whether we should even be together, is apparently written in the stars. They won't date certain signs, blamed our first argument on my big Aries energy, and even delayed our first kiss because Venus was in retrograde.
Okay.
I love that.
All right.
I love that astrology is a big part of queer culture, but I'm starting to feel like I'm dating a birth chart instead of a person. Am I a bad queer for thinking we
Yeah,
should base our
it's
relationship
fair.
on actual chemistry, not cosmic alignments?
Hmm. Well,
This is amazing.
I see
Wow.
both sides.
That's
See
a
both
deep
sides.
dedication
Yeah, I see
to
both sides like a
astrology.
Libra, just like a Libra. See both
Hmm.
sides. See
Hmm.
there? Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm. Just a
Am
person,
I
not
the
a planet.
skeptical? Is it an Aquarius thing for me to be skeptical about this? I don't know. Or is it
Once I
my
found out that
Capricorn in
you're,
my chart? Is it the
once I found
Capricorn?
out about that moon, I was like, yeah, 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 that
I have a lot of
Capricorn.
Capricorn.
It's something about, and yes, you do. It's something about those y'all winter babies. That's something, and I tell Shalay that too, because her birthday's coming up. She's a February Pisces. And I was just like, I don't know what happens to y'all in the winter. I think it's like some Game of Thronesy, like y'all gotta survive. Like y'all are very
What?
smart, very like, whatever and about it. And it's probably
Mm,
because it's cold. Like you're not like a summer or like I'm a fall baby, so it's kind of
mm-hmm.
like still fun and all that. But something about you winters, you know? Y'all are winners, Issa Rae is a Capricorn. There's a lot of great Capricorns out there. Y'all do
Mm-hmm.
get it done, but
I mean, but technically I'm an Aquarius. So it's
yeah,
just,
but you're still a winter baby. You're a
you are
January
correct. I am in there.
Aquarius,
I am in there.
you know.
So yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
hey, just a person, not a planet. I agree with you.
You're like, I aligned.
I we are
Okay.
in alignment. Like I
Yeah.
think there are some things that you can definitely pay attention to because I've started to open my mind a bit more this year
Mm.
because I'm just
Hmm.
hearing it and I started to catch on. It was really funny. One of my friends who's a Cancer, I don't know why I have like hooked into Cancer behaviors or like the meme
Mm.
pages have gotten me. But there was one time she reacted to something and I stopped and I was like, oh, that's very Cancer of you. And then I stopped and was like,
Wow.
who am I? And
Wow.
she
That's
stopped and she looked at
cool.
me like, you did not just say that. I'm like, I did. And I'm learning. Look at me.
Good.
So there are some things that can be given, but everything, I mean, a first kiss being held off because Venus was in retrograde, that
Yeah.
takes it to another level right there that I
They're
would
like, I
be
want to know it's
worried
real.
about.
I want to know it's not, you're not being emotional or whatever. It's just scrambled with
Like,
it.
not just
Now, I
doing this
still don't
because of the
understand the
stars.
retrograde thing. And I always have to look up every year, like, what is the retrograde calendar? Like, when it
Mm-hmm.
happens, it makes sense. Like, I can only go so deep with stuff. Sometimes, like, once they get further down the chart, like, I was like, okay, sun and moon. Okay, day and
Mm-hmm.
night. Think of it
Day and
on
night.
two occasions.
That's how
That's day
some
and night.
things stay repeating
Shout out to
overnight.
Babyface again. But this is a lot. And I certainly wouldn't let
There's
the
a lot.
planets decide where we're gonna eat or when I'm gonna
That's
be
the biggest.
affectionate
Like,
and all that.
just
That
think
this
if you're
is too much.
hungry. Think if
Yeah.
you're hungry in that moment and they're like, I have to
Let me
consort
sit
with
with
the
this.
stars.
Let me see.
Absolutely not. I'd be like, I'm out. You figure out what you going. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
eat by myself. That's what would
Yeah.
happen.
And that would be it too. It's just like I'm just gonna it's fine. You get what you want. I'm just gonna order. I'm
Yep.
gonna order something for me.
Yes.
Um, yeah, that's a lot.
That's a
This
lot.
seems like they are ruled too much by it, and it's a crutch. So I don't think you're bad queer for side eyeing. It's an obsession, and most obsessions like not the healthiest things. So
Mm-hmm.
this doesn't sound very very healthy. And then I'd be mad as fuck if our first argument you talking about it's because of my whatever energy is fuck you. All right, we
Okay.
just met.
No, instantly.
Like you don't know
Instantly.
me, and
I
like
would have picked
again,
up my bag and left.
yeah, because it's also like you are your sign, and some things it appears are just inherently you, but it really has to do with environment and upbringing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
very much so. So
Wow, wow.
yeah, good luck. You are a person, and you are not a planet.
You're a
So
person.
we agree. We agree. This last one is from Jay. Jay asks, am I back queer for being too private and not wanting to soft launch my new relationship? I love my partner. I'm proud of our relationship, but I refuse to do this whole soft launch thing where I post a blurry hand, a plate across the table, or the back of their head like I'm teasing an album drop. Either I post you or I don't. My partner thinks I'm being too rigid and that it's a cute way to ease people into our relationship without all the attention. But to me, it just feels wildly performative. Like, are we dating or doing a brand campaign?
Mm.
Jesus. I mean, right, but it's just like these are very biting today. Am I a bad queer for refusing to participate in this relationship reveal and wanting to either be fully public or keep it private? Jay. Um, you're not a bad queer for this. Uh, just sounds like you don't want to do a soft launch.
You just
Like you
want to
don't want to
launch.
ease into it. Like you just we launch or we don't. Um, and it's okay to not want your relationship online. Like that, I think that person has to understand, and especially if that is, you know, what your boundary is or what you said from the beginning. It's not like you're switching up on them. I do wonder, it sounds like you probably don't post a lot as is. So it's like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to change up my posting pattern to be like, here's an announcement, here's my new relationship. Cause it's nobody's business. And then sometimes again, like having to go back through, delete that. If it doesn't work out, like, it's just like, it's not essential to the relationship to be posted online. And if somebody does feel like it is, I would worry about that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So no, you're not being a bad queer about it. Seems like you're either all in or don't want to do it. So it's just those. You just don't want to do the, performative artsy, who's that? Kind of thing. Like just show your hand with like a distinctive tattoo or whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
y'all do with that. So, you know, yeah, just tell them that it's either or. It's yeah. What do you think, Shanna?
I also think there are other ways to share your relationship. It seems like your partner just wants to be a bit more visible in your life. So I wonder, like, do your friends know that your partner exists? Especially when you say that you love them, like using the L word is kind of, that means you've probably been together for a bit. So if it's one of those things, it's like post them on the story. Story disappears after
Maybe.
24 hours. You know? No, you're right. Maybe. Maybe it could be 1 day or 1 year. We
Mm-hmm.
never know.
If you
In
love
the
me,
queer
post me.
community. Okay. It could,
If you
it
love
could
me,
just be
post
one
me.
of those things where like every once in a while you just put them on a story. But make sure there are alternate ways to make sure that they are feeling like they are a part of your life. I think her point is to like ease people in, and I can understand the argument of like, who the fuck do we have to ease in? We're in this relationship. We don't have to ease nobody in.
Right.
And that is a fair statement. That I will give to you 100%. But if it's the opposite and she was just trying to figure out a way to be like, I just want to post more pictures. Like, what if she posts a picture and you just repost it? Then it makes it a bit easier. It just does the things. Like, it does sound like,
Mm-hmm.
as Kris was saying,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're not a big social media person
Mm-hmm.
and it's not anything personal. You're just like, I just don't post. So
Yeah.
just
Um,
have a discussion with your
Me.
partner to really get to the heart of what she's really asking for
Mm-hmm.
and go from
I
there.
feel like there's compromise with it.
Oh, absolutely.
Or if
This
there's
sounds like a
not, then
compromisable thing. It sounds like you're seeing it black and white. Like either I post a soft launch or I don't, or I'm only
yeah.
posting that we're in a relationship or I'm not posting anything. And it's like, there are alternatives.
Yeah.
Explore.
Yeah.
See what's comfortable for you.
Yeah. Hey, it's your account. So
Do what you want to do.
I think do whatever you want. So hopefully that's helpful, Jay. That's it. That's it for this week. And Am I Bad Queer? You send your questions to us at badqueers.com. Hit us up on IG at badqueerspod or email us at badqueers@badqueers.com.
All right, what type of bad queers will we be if we didn't have unpopular queer opinions? My bad queer opinion this week, especially in the state that we're in, I just need to give this reminder to cuddle your queer friends. We are in a time of despair. And sometimes we don't have people at home to cuddle with. Sometimes our cats said, fuck you, don't want to cuddle with you. And you might
It's
have
cats,
close
right?
queer friends. No, my cat loves to cuddle, but also sometimes he's
Mm,
like, fuck you. It's a balance.
mm,
Um, so if you have close relationships with people and you're just like, you know what, I just need some intimacy. I need some platonic intimacy. Hit up your friends. Host a cuddle puddle. They are the safest space that you have, and show them love. I was like, I've been like extra cuddly with my friends lately,
mm-hmm,
and it's just been like the moment I need, because it's like I know that I'm not trying to hit on them. I know that
mm.
they are my safe space. I know them
Or are
well.
you?
Right. No, not actually.
Episode 2 of The Heart
I'm
Life. Go ahead.
screaming at you right now in this moment, friend.
Which
Screaming,
friend?
screaming. I was like, and it's just nice. It's just a nice feeling. You just get the touch feel that you need to get, especially in the winter for anybody who lives in the cold areas like I do. And you just need some of that because we're not getting sun. We're not going outside. The most thing that's hugging us is our coats. Sometimes you just need to do
Mm,
that. So I have that call out. Cuddle your queer friends.
mm. Well, that's nice. And shout out to y'all because it seems very cold
It's cold.
out there.
It's cold.
Yeah. We've gotten a lot of rain and wind, and it's been chilly, but yeah, yeah, can't beat
No,
what
we
y'all
could
got
turn a
going
corner
on.
and get
That is,
thrown. Like that's what could happen.
yeah.
Doing our
Woof.
best. I get to go to a
Uh
warm place next week. I'm very excited.
oh, well, see, there we go. Well, my back queer opinion is that I want to applaud, or I guess I feel like a little kid or just giddy when I see D9, Divine Nine queer folks out and being their authentic self. Um, I had my wife's debutante ball this past weekend that they do annually, and it's just like every year you see more and more queer D9 folks out and living authentically, and I'm just happy to see that, and encourage more people to do so. There's really good follows on IG like Recognize Our Pride, that is a page dedicated to D9 folks. But as a GDI, hey, great to see y'all. I just give like a knowing, like just nod, like, hey,
Hmm.
yeah, me too. But also, really, you like this is great that you're out
We love it
and all
here.
that, and things are easing for some because the amount of queer people in D9s and Greek life, my God.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's getting a little bit. It seems like it's getting a little bit easier for y'all to live authentically and come out and go to these events with your family and feel safe and affirmed enough. So, shout out to that. And I hope it continues to happen because I'm only speaking from a West Coast perspective, but I would
Hmm.
imagine and what I see on like Recognize Our
Yeah,
Pride,
I feel
it's
like we
like
did
kind
a
of
story on this
happening.
a couple years
So,
ago where that was the conversation, was like, should D9 members be out or not? And then that's how we came across the Recognize Our Pride page and all of these things. Like there were conversations, but it seems like
yeah.
they have dulled. So that's great to hear that you were able to be
Yeah.
in a space where that was welcoming, it was affirming, and it's fun to be able to see the queer folks in spaces that we didn't get to see queer folks growing up and
Yeah. I
experiencing
remember
that.
a couple years ago, Recognize Our Pride, like Shalay showing me the page, and I was just happy that there was a page that existed. And this was
Mm,
before we talked about it because it was like, I wondered, and I was like, some of y'all are, especially certain certain organizations, are
mm,
just full of queer people. So it's good that it's just happening because it's always been a known thing within the queer community, Black queer community. So
hmm.
hey, good to see y'all
Hey,
with your letters, your colors, and living authentically with your families. So yeah, shout out to D9s and queer D9 folks.
love it here. Oh, that's a great way to wrap up the show. We've made it to the end, but we would never leave you without giving shout outs to our faves. My shout out this week goes to AU Pro Basketball, the Athletes Unlimited Pro Basketball. They are in season 4 of their 5-on-5 basketball. started today, tomorrow. It has started. It has begun. This was the original offseason in the U.S. Basketball League. You can't forget about them just because Unrivaled exists. We were super excited that Unrivaled exists, but we want to pay attention to the AU League. They also have more than just basketball. So, like, go over there. They're helping to create more spaces for women to play professionally, including softball, volleyball, a few other sports. So, pay attention to them. If you haven't heard of the AU Pro Basketball, the season has begun today, and it runs through March 2nd. There's 4 team captains. They draft new teams each week. Those teams play 3 games a week, and then the top 4 players with the most points at the end of that week become captains. It's a very fun time. It's great to see how the teams get mixed up, and who's playing, and it's similar to Unrivaled. Like, you just get this mix of people, and you get to go, and it's a great time. So you can watch them on ESPN Plus, Fanduel, and the WNBA app, and you can follow them on Instagram at AU Pro Basketball.
Good for them. Season 4 of them. They've been around, and they were that first league that was kind of outside of the WNBA, but here.
And like kept them here as well. But their content this year is already great. They're already like imitating the Jennifer Hudson Happy Place walk and all of that. The videos are great. Sydney Colson leading the charge.
To whatever intern or producer came up with that walk that is probably not getting paid enough money for how big that's gotten.
So good.
Jesus.
So good.
My shout out is to the Black Farmers Index, or the Index, which addresses food insecurity, food system failures, and inequities in agriculture, and their commitment to ensure that Black farmers and growers thrive. You could follow them on IG at Black Farmers Index and see all of the Black farmers in your area or near you, how you can support them.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, we are going to be sharing an episode from another podcast that we were on. So we'll still be here just with that guest because we got some travels coming up. But don't worry, we're still going to see you next week.
Take care.
Can we talk about things? I'm sorry that I'm